There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP Morning Show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you Gumpers.
Hey there, you Gumpers. Hola, bon dia, alegria. ExpatsPortugal.com's Good Morning Portugal live stream with me, Carl Munson, here for you on a Thursday morning, moving to Portugal Thursday. And our very special guest. Let me just bring this onto the screen. We're welcoming Luis Duarte from Global Relocation International. And let me just share with you all the things that they cover on the screen for just a moment. And I think there's truly something for everybody here. Have a look at this. We are looking here at property services, relocation of people, moving things, fairs and events. Now, I was thinking to myself, fairs and events, when the Gumpers go on the road and we set up an international Gumper tour around the world, we might be using the services of Global International Relocation. Pets, now that may be of big interest. If you're already here, you're thinking, well, why would I want Global International Relocation? Well, you might not have brought your pets here yet, and you might be looking for a solution. Express movement, fast movement of things, if you don't trust necessarily the Portuguese postal system. And increasing numbers of people seem not to, as well as fine art. So if you're wondering about your fine art collection that you've had to leave behind until now, or maybe your wine collection, you're thinking, what's the best way to bring that over to Portugal? Global International Relocation may well be the way. Let's talk to Luis Duarte, Sales Director of Global International Relocation, after 9 o'clock this morning. We'll come back to that. And he's over there in Sintra. So if there are any questions about Sintra, you want to know, or questions answered about Sintra, he's the man to ask. And you know how we like to, it's not just the product or the service, is it? It's the people, especially if they're Portuguese. And Luis is already in the green room, I see already, but with us for 9 o'clock, sounding pretty good. I wonder if you could give me a wave, Luis. Are you in Sintra this morning? Are you over there in Sintra? I think he's in Sintra, and yes, so many people interested in that beautiful place, and I'm sure Luis Duarte will be able to answer questions about Sintra as well. And that's what we want to do, isn't it? As well as the products and the services, we want to know about the people, as you know, from when we have conversations with Nuno Mendes, for example, from Winsurance, we're finding about his interest in bushcraft as well, and the scouting movement, and he talks about all sorts of aspects of Portuguese culture, so hoping to do that with Luis later on this morning as well. We will have a look at the news and the weather. We have an interesting news article item that connects with the weather that I was going to be crowing about this morning. I mean, let me just do that. Let me just bring the weather onto the screen. And I've got some beautiful, let me do these first, actually. Out with the dogs this morning and having a walk. It was the sunrise this morning. Isn't that beautiful? Just down the road from me, out walking the dogs. And you can see the silvery bramble bushes there, and the sun just rising above them this morning. Fantastic. Yesterday, look at this. This is my lad, 10 years of age, scaled that huge sand dune. If you've been to San Martinho de Porto and looked across the bay, you'll have seen an amazing feat of nature, a feature of nature, which is this almost looks like, from the distance, it looks like a vertical sand dune, if that's not a contradiction in terms. Young Digby scaled up there with my phone and took that beautiful picture of the bay the other day. And while we were wandering about town, something else to bring you, look at this, passion flower. We're talking about January, folks, here in Portugal, and that beautiful passion flower there. Fruit was already forming on that passion flower vine outside a block of apartments here in San Martinho de Porto. Isn't that beautiful? So a few pickies for you there this morning. We will find out what happened to Victoria. We had a lovely whip round for Victoria yesterday, and I can let you know how much we've raised for Victoria, so that until she gets her cards back, she can at least buy some food after that robbing down there in the south. Let's. Oh yeah, I was going to bring you the weather, wasn't I? So let's have a quick look at this weather then, and see what's happening. I'm thinking this is fantastic. Look at all those sunny days all around Portugal. You know, part of the 300 days of sunshine that we talk about over here in Portugal. And if you have a look at this, I'll scroll up and down, and you'll see on the expats Portugal weather, sunshine all the way. Let me just go back up to the top of this because it's quite extraordinary. Bear in mind, I just said, didn't I? It's January in Portugal here. Go to the capital, a high of 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Not hot, but look at that brightness for the next 7 days. Same in Porto, same in Coimbra. Faro letting the side down a little bit, you'll see there, with a slightly cloudy day on Saturday. But as I'm scrolling down throughout the districts of all of Portugal, sun, well, brightness, beautiful blue skies. Saturday in Leiria, a little bit cloudy, but everywhere else, look, Bragança, a cloudy day tomorrow. But look at this, even with minus temperatures in Guarda, -5, my goodness. Who knew? In Guarda on Saturday, bright, sunny days. Look at that. And then we go to the Portugal news this morning. Let's have a look at a couple of these news items. And farmers are praying for rain to save the crops. So, yes, it comes and it goes, doesn't it? As one door opens, another closes. And we're looking for, even though we love these bright sunny days, we are looking for some rain as well around the country. So let me share with you this news item about the farmers praying for rain and a couple of others as well. Let me just bring onto the screen for you this Portugal news story. Praying for rain to save the crops. You get a lovely view of, yeah, that'll be the Douro Valley there, I think, in the Portugal news featured. These farmers then, the drought in the north is not yet an alarming situation, but farmers are praying for a rainy February so that next year's crops are not compromised. So it's all about balance, isn't it? It's all very well us enjoying these bright, sunny days in January, but if we want wine next year, you might want to do a rain dance a bit later on. From what members of the APT, the Associação dos Agricultores e Pastores do Norte, tell him, the drought is not yet an alarming situation in the north of the country. Director João Moraes told Lusa. The agricultural engineer explains that the region suffers from a meteorological drought, not a hydrological drought. Oh, there's a distinction there, as there is in the south. Oh, yes, because I saw another news item actually about the prognosis for water in the south in terms of reservoirs. I think it's 1.5 years worth of water down there in the south, currently literally on tap. And this happens because there is still water in the soil. That's up in the north, of course. For Director General of the Association of Young Farmers of Portugal, AJAP, Firmino Cordeiro, it is almost impressive that we're talking about a drought in mid-January. What is happening is that in addition to this COVID-19 thing, which has affected our lives, we have to deal with an even more complicated thing, which is climate change, he said. The official explained that despite the fact that the north is more rainy than the rest of the mainland, the region has, on the one hand, the area between Douro and Minho, which must be one of the areas of the country where there is more rain and more humidity. On the other hand, we have Trás-os-Montes and Alto Douro, where the so-called hot land of Trás-os-Montes, at least for 2 months of the year, right, which are areas of the country where it rains the least, even less than some areas of the deep Alentejo. I didn't know that about Trás-os-Montes, beyond the mountains there. To arrive in mid-January with little water accumulated in the soil is terrible. It is terrible for the crops that are traditionally grown in this more coastal region, such as green wine, silage corn. Here's an agricultural lesson for you this morning. White corn, other fruit trees, kiwis, lemon trees, outdoor horticulture, almost without irrigation in the Póvoa de Varzim area and other areas, he explained. When the water in the soil starts to run low, it is necessary to start watering, and watering is a problem because it is removed from wells and holes, which when it does not rain, we have much more delicate replacement capacity. So, okay, so prayers for rain then in the north. In fact, that's how this article ends. Let's pray to the saints. I wonder which Portuguese saint is responsible for rain. Let's pray to the saints for those who believe and those who don't, to do better for this country and for the world, because this is the problem of the century and people are still looking away, he concluded. That, I think, is João Moraes finishing off with that Portugal news article there, praying for rain in the north to save the crops there. So enjoy the brightness and the sunshine by all means, but spare a thought for those farmers there up in the north. Let's see who's here before we look at some more news and find out exactly how much we raised for Victoria with that whip round. Thank you so much, Frank and Rachel, for offering your PayPal number. and we managed to get €100 together very quickly. I'm sure there'll be more coming in if it's needed, but just a very quick request of everybody in the community yesterday after Victoria's robbing down there at Praia da Rocha. We've managed to get together around €100, Frank tells me. He was tempted to go to the casino down there, probably with a nice gin and tonic or a portonico in his hand, and make that into more money. But I think we're going to rest on the €100 that we've raised there. And he'll get that to you today or tomorrow, I think, Victoria. James is first in this morning with a Bon Dia Gumpos, Feliz Quinta. And Victoria, how are you doing today? Any luck with the police, etc.? And I think Victoria is here in the comments letting you know what's going on. And Moaz is here with I also hope Victoria is doing well. Bon Dia Alegria, Nación de Gumpos, the Gumpos Nation. Thank you for that. Day 261. You know what he's referring to there, don't you? And his Stephen Wright quote of the day. I think it's wrong that only one company makes the game at Monopoly. Boom, boom. Okay, so Victoria is here as well. Hi, James. Bag found, but all cards had been cancelled. So, so the cards were still in there. They just basically wanted the cash from you, by the sound of it, Victoria. So awaiting replacements coming from US and Spain. And I think our guest today, Global International Relocation, might be able to get those things to you real fast from the US and Spain. Happily, my residencia permit was still in the bag, so all good. I'm so glad you found the bag and found those important and useful documents there, and that we've got some cash to you as well, so you'll be fine until the cards arrive and you're truly back in balance. So many thanks for the outpouring of love and support from this community. So wonderful to be a part of it. Victoria, it is our absolute pleasure to help out. Shame it's in such horrible circumstances, but great to be able to assist. Well done, everybody. And thanks especially to everybody who sent a few quid Victoria's way yesterday. Glad to hear, Victoria. And thanks, Thunder. Victoria, sending you compassionate vibes from Moaz this morning. And Bon Dia Alegria Todos from Cape Town this morning. Such good news, Victoria. Sometimes what we keep in our wallet bag is more important than the money, and I'm relieved for you that you found it. It's a good day. It must be quite a relief to get the residence permit. It's probably the hardest one to get replaced. Yes, the residency permit was the reason to go to the police, but I have it, so we didn't bother to go back. And I think you only probably need to report to the police if you need a crime number. That's how it is in so much of the world now, isn't it? Not that the police probably are going to investigate that. They will give you a number, I think, if you need anything for insurance purposes. Is that right, Victoria? Maybe you could let me know. Did the police speak English? I'm sure they did down there in the Algarve, Moaz. On the first night after the incident, we went to the police and nobody there spoke English. Oh, so no. That's why they told us to come back the next day. Okay, so when one of the colleagues could assist you better, I suspect. Not the worst case then. Happy to hear you're okay, from James to Victoria, and you got the important stuff back. I think I got that right. Even though my friends spoke some Portuguese, it was almost as though they couldn't be bothered. But I guess it wasn't important. Very strange. Yeah, okay. Well, fair play, Victoria, with your assessment of the situation there. And you would hope for a little bit more, a better reception, possibly, in a upset state, as you must have been after that experience. Bon dia, folks, from Jandis. And actually, while we're on that matter, Safe Communities Portugal, I know their liaison with the police is very good down there in the Algarve. Safe Communities Portugal, run by an ex-high-ranking police officer from, I think, Hong Kong and the UK, who works very closely. That's David, isn't it, down there in the Safe Communities Portugal organisation. So it might be worth reporting back there, and they can improve that process for people should, God forbid, that happen to anybody in the future. So there might be something worth reporting to Safe Communities Portugal there. Bon dia, folks. I'm so happy to see Victoria get a bag and some of her stuff back. Glad you're doing better. Victoria, so glad as well. Here from Sue's in Finland this morning. I wonder if this type of situation could one put a hold on cards rather than cancelling. Does anyone know? You can with Revolut. You can certainly hold the cards or temporarily stop them being used and then unlock them. So you probably can, but I'm not sure we're thinking clearly, are we, necessarily? We just do the thing that we think is right in such a difficult and emergency situation. How did you get the bag back? Did you find it or did someone return it? The questions are coming in for you. Our unofficial guest, Victoria, this morning, answering questions in the comments. Moaz, it's Abu. I just dropped Muhammad and kept my first name Moaz. Yeah, so he's like Prince, changing his name. The artist formerly known as Moab there. No, what did we call him before? I can't even remember now. Abu, we used to call you Abu, the artist formerly known as Abu. Jandis to Suze in Iceland. They first put a hold on lost and stolen cards for 24 hours, just in case they get retrieved and cancellation is not needed. So there you go. That's for maybe the Icelandic bankers who found themselves in a bit of trouble. What, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, have changed their practices a little bit. I think they're up to old tricks, according to Jandis when we spoke the other day. Bon dia Torush from Garvo in Alvagra this morning. Sintra, just down the street. Of course, that's where Luis will be speaking to us from, I think. He certainly has a connection with Sintra. These are gorgeous pictures. Well, it's my pleasure to share them with you. That passion flower was especially good, was it not this morning? Look at this. Just again, one more time for you, Moaz Abu, or Abu as we used to call you, only last week. Look at that. That is truly glorious, isn't it? Fantastic. Any other pictures, send them in. You know what to do. 913-590-303. And if any of you rascals, I'm just looking at my pictures here, if any of you rascals were searching for giant baps on the Portuguese internet, you'd have got this, of course. Look at those. That picture that I saw on social media it looks incredible, doesn't it? She is maybe the grandma of the Dr. Bayard's lady who wrestles the banana slug lozenges. But that lady sure does bake some big baps in whatever part of Portugal that is. And I think, Garvo, didn't you have a rather good caption for that picture as well? Found it. The bag was found on a second exploration, everybody. I believe someone put it where it could be seen. There you go. That's more like the Portugal we know and love, isn't it? Bag found, put somewhere where it could be found. Fantastic. I think most American credit cards can be turned off with the click of a button. Well, it's all very well saying that now in retrospect, but it's good to know, possibly in the future, a great and useful convenience. So, yeah, an alternative to cancellation, instant cancellation, is just to turn them off for a little while. And Gary's here as well. Good morning to you, Gary, in the UK. Really pleased to hear Victoria found her bag. We're, like Central Portugal, our experience our driest January on record. So, yeah, it's all very well enjoying these beautiful, bright blue sky days, but we do need a bit of rain as well. Don't worry, that's coming. Always rains in April in Portugal. We will get some rain. I've heard that if you get pickpocketed, you should check all the trash bins nearby, as the crook will want to get rid of the evidence as fast as possible. Told by a friend, obviously, there, Thunder Duck. And if you see Thunder Duck going through the bins in Lisbon, you will know why. Chris, bon dia from Capricorn 12. The Faixa do Dia, Royers this morning. Can't you see me? Oh, yeah. And great vibes workout in the middle of that. Growing up in the jazz funk era kept me fit on the dance floor. I saw Roy Ayers live at the Case de Sol weekend. Great Yarmouth. Fantastic. He's a legend, Roy Ayers, isn't he? What an amazing career. Keeping fit on the dance floor. That's something we might talk about tomorrow. Growing old disgracefully. The God Squad are in tomorrow. Coach Turner's here. And I want to talk to you. I mean, how do you keep fit? Dancing would be one way. I want to talk about intermittent fasting. I was thinking about vitamins and minerals. And I know some of you have got, I mean, what we're talking about here is 50 Plus Vitality. And I have started a Facebook group of the same name, 50 Plus Vitality, only last night, because I want to talk about all aspects of keeping well. And not just well, but vital. You know, with some real lead in your pencil when you get over 50. What is your secret? What are your secrets? Intermittent fasting people are talking about. Thinking about vitamins and minerals this morning. Do you have regimes? Are they worth it? Or do they just end up in the same place that beer does? You don't really buy it, you rent it. The long phone call to American credit card company was fighting with them to send directly to Portugal, which they refused to do. They are sending to the US address. Someone has to DHL to me. I'm sure Luis will have something to say about that a little bit later on, expressing those things over from the United States. Yes, checked all bins. 30 years ago, I was robbed and my driver's license showed up in a recycling facility in Florida. Wow. I'm so glad you can laugh about these things now, Victoria, 2 days later. Bon dia todos from Jean as well from New Jersey this morning. And bon dia alegria from Central Portugal, close to Alvagra. Great to see Owen cooking yesterday live on the show. And that's a fixture, everybody. Every third Wednesday, ask anything about Portuguese food and cooking. And quite often in that mix will be a live cooking demo again with Owen. Victoria, I hope you're safe and the experience hasn't darkened your outlook of Portugal. I'm really sad to hear this, that this happened to you. And I've got a little bit of an antidote for that in just a moment, everybody. These things do happen. Let's not let us, let's not let this darken our view. It does happen. It's a terrible thing when it happens, but I don't think it's representative of this beautiful country. Yes, I've been faced with incredible challenges trying to get stuff done in the US from here, and I've got a great friend in the US who is helping me. Everyone needs one of those, don't they? A bestie back in the US. So that's the US BFF, I think. All praise to Santa Chuva this morning. That if it starts raining where you are, it's because of Garvo saying that. Bon dia, Gria, Gumpters there from a cold. It is cold this morning where we live, isn't it, Sydney B? Crispy, but it will be bright. Bon dia, San João for the rain, mate. Thank you, Zay, Manuel da Costa Diogo. In the UK, still, I suspect, so prayers to San João for the rain. And let's have a look who else is here this morning. Antonio F, good morning to you, Antonio, the Lusophonic warrior there. Andrew's in with love for Victoria as well. And a quick brag. I wrote my exam and I got my certification yesterday. Well done, mate. Parabéns, je vous say. Not happy birthday, but, you know, congratulations to you. Today, I rest the brain. I bet you don't. Tomorrow, I'm back to my 15 minutes of learning Portuguese. Well done, everybody. Keep it up. 15 minutes learning the lingo. Look, you only have to mention his name and up he pops. Nuno Mendes, good morning. I'm freezing the frio this morning. Carl, all the expats in Portugal appreciate you so much. Oh, that's so kind, Mars. Very kind of you to say so. Mark's here from Norfolk as well. Good morning, Mark. When I lost my bag, the GNR were very efficient and helpful in Alvazara. By the time I got home, someone had returned it to my house. Everything present, including the cash and the Samsung tablet there, the pad. Love them. Isn't that great? Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us, Garvo. 10 minutes to go until we talk to Luis Duarte, who is with us from Global International Relocation this morning. Sales director there, talking about all things, moving stuff around the world, people and stuff around the world. Bon dia. Yeah, San João then for the rain. Thank you for that. Da Costa Diogo there. I'd love to see her wrestling the Bayards woman, the Powerfolter. You can't say things like that, encouraging old grannies to be wrestling Bayards operatives. They've got more important things to do, like keeping the bread production going in the country and our favourite cough lozenge. Although I nearly did go for the Santa Javier, I have to say. But still, Dr. Bayards, must get some of those, must replenish my Dr. Bayards stock. And if we have maybe we can have the Portuguese pilot light shop, where we keep your Portuguese pilot light lit by sending you stuff from Portugal. Pastel de natas don't travel so well, but the Dr. Bayards and San Javier lozenges, I'm sure will. A couple more comments then before we look at this most excellent article in the Portugal news. Why everyone is moving to Portugal. A little bit of an exaggeration, we hope. Other news articles actually we're looking at. I was going to talk about this morning. Perhaps it's too depressing, but leave those kids alone. 20th of January, Algarve judge rules in favour of battling parents. Child psychiatrist Pedro Caldeira da Silva, who came out this week defending the urgent need to find a way of freeing children from the damaging psychology perpetuated through the pandemic. Yeah, I mean, seriously. But I know this is in safe hands on the first Friday of February, when Jenny B comes back to talk about the Rainbow Guardians. That's right up our street. And we may come back to that later on in the show as well, after we've spoken to Luis. And look at this. PM Costa, you wanted to be kept abreast of what's going on with the election campaign. PM Costa in piping hot water for not telling the truth in debate watched by 3.3 million. Is it me, or have we normalized how do we call it? Being economical with the truth in politics around the world. It's not a slur on Portuguese politics necessarily. And the PM here, very grateful to be here in your country, PM Costa. We'll see, won't we, as well, if he's still PM Costa next month. But that isn't it in many jobs. If you lied in front of 3.3 million people, you may well find yourself a cardboard box on your desk and a couple of security guards ready to escort you out, but not in politics, folks. Okay, let's have a quick look then at this, as well as your comments this morning. The lovely news article. It is a bit of an advertorial, I have to say. I'll warn you now. But it does have some fantastic content in it, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. Somebody selling golden visas, the controversial golden visa, of course, but some lovely, a little bit of an antidote after the robbery yesterday down in the south. The quest for a sustainable life will continue to draw people to the bountiful, beautiful, and still affordable Portuguese terrains there. Portugal news then we're looking at, and this is yes, I'm looking for the byline. Who wrote this article? By advertiser. Okay, the person putting their name to this, and this should always be the case, shouldn't it, is Charles Taylor Harris, and he is a proponent and seller of the golden visa, okay, just to put you fully in the picture. But I include it not least because is that a glorious bougainvillea plant outside somebody's beautiful Algarvian home, possibly Madeira, I don't know, but it's in a beautiful part of Portugal. Here is one of the most exciting times of the year, he says. As the festive season came to an end, our resolutions for the new year surfaced earlier in January, and I know from personal experience that New Year's resolutions tend to fizzle out by March. March? That's putting a long timeline on it, a long tail. I think most people's New Year's resolutions, how are yours, by the way, are fizzled out by the first week of January. And that's why it's good to have Coach Turner in tomorrow, seeing how we can grow old disgracefully. Us bon viveurs who are looking for some gentle fitness. Anyway, with the changing world and expectations, this year is going to be a year in which people will definitely seek change in the way they live. That's true enough, Charles. When I talk to friends and prospective clients, he says, I realize that starting a new life in a different country or obtaining a Plan B residency, oh, there are people doing that, are there, is one of the most common resolutions. They're searching for places where they can live a healthy and sustainable lifestyle. Having Portugal on top of their list is no coincidence. I won't read the whole thing. I will give you the link to it, of course, because that could be frustrating, couldn't it, to hear it and not be able to find it. Portugal offers the best of both worlds. I'll just dip into this. A majority of investors I've spoken to say their main motivation is to escape the hustle and bustle of metropolitan life and find refuge in Portugal. And I think what he's saying is you get both. You can have the hustle and bustle of the big cities, but you can also have peace and quiet. Property prices are still attainable, he says. That's true, isn't it? And I saw what I thought was an incredible news item yesterday. 50% of Portuguese properties are less than 50,000. And I don't know how they've got to that. We'll have to find that and go through that, won't we, later on. Or later on this week, I was going to say Friday tomorrow. How did that happen? But in the next few days, let's look at that news item. 50% of Portuguese properties below 50,000. Getting residency is another motivation, and this is where Charles slips in his services about the Portugal Golden Visa, of course. And it's this is a new one to me, a perfect base for young expats and promads. So a ProMad is probably like a digital nomad, a professional person looking for the coolest places to work in the world. The thriving digital nomad community in the country has started a buzz among millennials, he says, who are looking for more freedom along with many opportunities. Portugal, especially Lisboa, offers many co-working spaces where they can meet fellow nomads. I've been to a few of them. They are exciting places, and they pop up. There's one in Caldas, you know. They pop up all over the place. In Tamar as well, co-working space. I believe the rising interest from these young professionals has made a positive impact on Portugal's popularity as a newly emerging hub. The crypto investors who want to enjoy the country's tax-free crypto regulations are other contributors to this growing ecosystem. And he finishes here. Portugal has it all. Apart from the above reasons, let's go through this, shall we? Portugal has everything people look for. On this Thursday, moving to Portugal Thursday, good weather, delicious food, nice beaches, the rich culture. It's the fourth safest country in the world and the third safest in Europe. It has also proven itself as a generalization, obviously, notwithstanding what happened to Victoria. It has also proven itself as a safe harbor against the current war, against the pandemic, without the tension that has dogged other parts of the world. This also explains the increasing demand from Australians, Canadians, and Americans who are looking for tranquility in Portugal. So there you go. Thank you very much for that, Charles Taylor Harris. And very interesting. We could possibly click through on the investment tab on the Portugal News to the benefits of investing in Portugal through private equity funds. I think that is one of the options of the Golden Visa, is it not? And also, yeah, they have a news item on the Portugal Golden Visa investment fund versus the real estate, which costs less. So that's a pretty cool line of inquiry there, and I'll pop the link to that in the comments now. And tonight, for you Premium Plus folks, just a little bit of a reminder, in our 9 o'clock webinar, well, the 7:30 webinar, did I put that picture up? Because we're talking about renting cars tonight, and there is some confusing nomenclature, vocabulary tonight. We call them hire cars in the United Kingdom. You call them rentals, don't you? Hence the phrase, drive it like a rental. There's lease, hire, lease purchase. And we're talking tonight about having a car without owning it. And I'm desperately trying to find the slide for that particular. I'll come back to that. But we're talking to the ACP tonight about a long-term rental, basically, having a car and all the benefits of new car ownership without any of the hassle, apart from putting in the gasoleo or gasolio, I should say, gasolio or gasolina. Everything else is taken care of for a monthly payment, and we'll be talking about that with the ACP tonight at 7:30. And thereafter, for the smaller, more intimate, exclusive Q&A troubleshoot session with the Premium Plus folks, the Expats Portugal Plan, taxation and wealth management. So I was reminded to tell you, remind you folks about our 9 o'clock session because of the investment news we were looking at there in the Portugal news. It's 9 o'clock, everybody, here on the Good Morning Portugal show with me, Carl Munson from Expats Portugal. And time to welcome to the screen, Luis Duarte. Good morning to you. How are you? Hola, bom dia. Oh, we're not getting your sound at the moment, Luis. So let's just see if we can have a little tinker on your sound there, so that we can hear you from the HQ. What I'll do is, while you're finding your sound there, mate, I'll bring up your website as well, and we'll be able to look at what's going on, and you'll be able to illustrate some points from the Global Mobility Group. Perfect. Yeah, I can hear you just about. I think that's going to settle down. How are you this morning?
I am doing well. And yourself?
Very well indeed. Thank you very much. So nice to remind ourselves here about the wonders of living in Portugal, as you could hear from the article we're just reading from the Portugal News. So you're here from the Global Mobility Group, the Global International Relocation. What is it you do there, Luis? Just to sort of paint a picture for us.
Well, as you were saying just a second ago, I actually do a lot of stuff. You know, we at Global International, we help basically expats to come to Portugal and to go out of Portugal. Yeah, so it's actually a very interesting service we do, because we are a mobility company, and so basically our day-to-day is to help people to, in my perspective, to first of all get actually very well acquainted with the regulations, you know, because in the end of the day, it's a matter of also a choice. You know, there's a lot of people that, as you were saying, like the youngsters coming to Portugal, a lot of them, you know, are thinking about, should I take my stuff or not, you know, and oftentimes they just decide to put everything in a bag and go to Portugal. You see, so it's just a matter of decision as well, and it's our role to help, you know, our clients and everyone to understand, you know, the regulations and the costs to do a move, or to be able also to be in Portugal, okay, because we also do that. So that's basically it, you know, helping people to move their families from one place to the other, from, imagine, the US to Portugal, the UK to Portugal, and also help them to actually do this process legally speaking, you know, to get the visas, to be able to be registered in Portugal, and if they have pets, we will help them to also move their pets. Okay, we will be able to just help them through the whole process. Some countries are quite difficult. I can tell you that, yeah, very, very difficult. I actually have a little prize over there because of a dog we have shipped to Australia, and this was an American Staffordshire Terrier, and could not even fly from Portugal, for your understanding. So I had to take it to Spain, and from Barcelona take it to Australia, with all the bureaucracies, you know, that we had to do. So it's sometimes moving becomes a little bit complicated, but if it's in the right hands, it becomes easier. You know, so
that's quite incredible, and thank you for that. And it hadn't occurred to me that anybody would want to move from Portugal, but obviously they do from time to time. Why would you move Portugal?
Well, yeah, we deal with a lot of people that are like the expats, diplomats, and people that come to Portugal for a short period, you know, 2 years, 3 years, no more than that. Of course, we also deal with other people that come for Portugal for like to be to invest here, or to just be retired in Portugal, you know, and those guys are actually remain our clients for a long time. Then we do a lot of local moves and help them, you know, in Portugal as well. So that's very good.
I got you. Okay, so yeah, in that instance, I mean, you know, here we're dealing with the beauty and tranquility and just the general wonderfulness of moving to Portugal. But there's a whole other side of corporate moving, isn't there? Of course, where a company might say to you, "Look, we've got 20 people. We want to start an office in Portugal." What an amazing contract that must be for you. Like, we need 20 people. Get them to Portugal for us next week, please, if you can.
Well, and Portugal is actually, the main tech area nowadays,
Yeah.
with Web Summit going on in Portugal, in Lisbon, and all of that, we have a lot of startup companies in
Yeah.
Lisbon, and it's a very wonderful area for these new companies to come. So yeah, that stuff happens a lot.
Oh, fantastic. And then 2 years later, those 20 people you moved for us? Well, we need them to go to Brazil now. And off they go again. Amazing.
There you go.
Yeah. So tell us about the, in that article I was just reading, we've got Australians, Canadians, certainly Americans are becoming very interested in moving to Portugal. It's really on the map now for
Yes.
as an expat destination, or becoming an expat here in Portugal. What trends are you seeing? Who's coming here, and where's the growth?
Yeah, well, you just mentioned them, like honestly, we have seen in the US, a huge growth of people coming to Portugal. And we used to have, what you just said, these people that come to Portugal for these companies, like they would come, the CEO would come to Portugal now for this big company, or the CFO, or whatever person in that state. And nowadays you don't see that as often as you see the guy that can work remotely, and now he wants to come to Portugal because, as you said in the beginning, we have 300 days of sun, so they want to be there, and just enjoy. They don't have hurricanes here, we don't have earthquakes, we don't have any of those things, and we can just stay safe the whole year, in the place, and it's very quiet, and it's just amazing, the quality of life that I see. And we are doing a lot of moves. Sometimes I think that, oh no, this must be a, because I see the volume. I started to work in the moving area, in the beginning. I've been here for 13 years now. So
Have you?
yeah. Well, I know I look young. I look like I was born like 2 years ago.
Did you start work there when you were 10?
That's usually what I say. Child labor in Portugal is still valid. I'm just kidding. No. But it's actually interesting that I look nowadays to to these very huge moves coming to Portugal: 100 cubic meters, 80 cubic meters. 2 40-foot containers. Very big moves coming to Portugal, and I would think, oh, this is a person that is going to be retired, is just taking all of the stuff, because we accumulate a lot of stuff throughout our lives, and and no, it's not. It's families, it's people with kids coming to Portugal, families that want to give like a different sense to their kids. I had this client coming from Hawaii, imagine. So you can come. Yeah.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're just talking to somebody. We want to be on your plan. We're thinking of moving from Hawaii to Portugal. It's like, what? And you too. So that really tells us something, doesn't it, about the quality of life here in Portugal?
Exactly.
We do have some questions coming in for you, and I just need to check. Are you in Sintra? Is that where you're based?
I am. Yes.
Oh, lucky
we
man.
have we have offices in Porto, Algarve, and Sintra, but we manage basically everything from Sintra. Okay, so it's all our coordination is in Sintra, but our operations are spread through the country. It's a small country; you can cover it, very easily.
Sure. And do you live there as well, you lucky man?
Well, I do. Yeah, I used to live in Setúbal. I'm not sure if you know Setúbal area.
We do.
I live there.
That's very popular with Americans as well, isn't it? And the home of Jose Mourinho.
Exactly, Mourinho. Yeah, I actually I lived. My neighbor was a colleague of Mourinho in school. So she knew it. She knew him very well. But the Setúbal has a lot of stories. But I lived in Setúbal for 25 years, and I just recently moved a year ago to Sintra. So I live, I know people in London and in the US, they get jealous of this, because if I walk to my home, I will take 30 minutes walking. If I drive, I'll take 5 minutes to drive, in traffic. So it's actually a very calm way to be living right now. And in Sintra, indeed, I have the castle every day. I see the palace. It's
Oh, wow.
green all year long, so it's nice.
All right. Any questions for Luis about Sintra as well? I'm sure he'll be happy to answer those. So, do
Yeah.
you offer, the first question coming in from Moaz here, do you offer relocation services from Dubai?
Yes,
I
from
thought you'd
Dubai
say
and from about 187 countries. So we do it from Dubai or to Dubai. We actually are doing a lot. Remember that Emirates, when we had the beginning of this the pandemic, Emirates and a lot of airlines, they were like they shut down, and so we had about 100 or 300 people from Portugal, ex pilots of Emirates that came back to Portugal, and now they are going back again to Emirates. So they are
Oh,
hiring them again, and this is very good because we have done their movement to Portugal, and now they're going back to Dubai again. So yes, we do.
amazing. So it's a yes for you there, Moaz. And yeah, I mean, on the pandemic, how has that been for you? These last 2 years must have been crazy for your job, right?
Well, honestly, the beginning was crazy, because with all the borders shut down, all of that situation for us, it was like, imagine, uh, we are actually a very growing company. Every year we grow, fortunately, and for me, that started in a company with 4 people, and now we are over 80 people, has been, very interesting. But what I saw
Incredible.
was those first months, in 2020, were very very challenging. We had absolutely nothing going on. Honestly, it was very scary for us as a moving company with all the costs we do have. But now and since then, it's crazy. On the other side, we are doing moves and moves and moves. It's just there's no space in a warehouse. We are just like building a new warehouse on the side. It's
How
growing quite
exciting.
a lot. It's the
Well,
pandemic brought.
I'm so glad to hear. I'm so glad to hear that because
Yes,
this is symptomatic, isn't it, of the interest people have in Portugal around the world, and as well, I
exactly.
think post-pandemic, I think people are going to be partying like it's 1999. We are going to be having like another Roaring Twenties, possibly, aren't we? Because people have been so cooped up and fed up. As soon as
Yeah.
they get the chance to get out and party and really sort of live life, so-called normally again, it's
Mhm.
going to be mad, and they're going to be moving around the world. They're going to be moving around town. They're going to be just wanting to put this whole thing behind them, aren't they? It's going to go crazy. So build another warehouse, Luis. I think you need I think you need another one, and we have a warehouse party there as well.
I'll
Okay.
gladly do it.
I would definitely say we're talking about particular things. And yeah, this is a great question for you. I mean, this is a specific thing. I definitely say take your furniture with you, the sofas, chairs, etc. More expensive, less comfortable, and outdated in our experience. Yes, there's sort of different tastes, I suppose, here in Portugal. But with Brexit, that might be a nightmare. We'll come back to the Brexit question. But what do you recommend people? I mean, you'll bring anything people want to bring, right? But it
Correct.
is very expensive to ship things now, isn't it? And increasingly so. What do you think are
Yes.
the essential things to ship, and what do you find in your experience that people
Well,
you
it
can't
does.
find here, if you like?
Well, things you can't find here, it's difficult. You can't find everything here. But as we read in this comment, it's true. Like there are a lot of stuff from that I know from the US, from the UK. You know, the people, like different things. Like the furniture, for instance. We used to have a very huge industry of furniture in Portugal. Okay,
Yeah,
but it's true that it's going, in Passos de Ferreira. Passos de Ferreira in the northern part of Portugal. That's the
I've heard of
capital of furniture in
it.
Portugal.
Okay, I
Okay.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
to know. Yeah,
So if you want any type of furniture, you go there, and there are factories. And what happened was, like, with the crisis, a lot of those factories, they stopped making new furnitures. With IKEA arriving to Portugal,
yes,
and the
yes,
young
yes.
people, wanting to buy all these, I want to build my own furniture. So those things, they actually damage a big part of that in
I bet.
Portugal. But they have done something interesting. And just replying for everyone that is listening, which is, I believe, nice for everyone that wants to go there, it's that you have now design furniture in
Yeah,
those areas, and they have very nice things. So what do they want to take? Some people want to bring only the important memories.
Yes.
Okay, they bring like the thing you are drinking right now, the cups. They want to bring the cup that they drink every single day. It's true. This is true,
You're right. Yeah.
And of course, family stuff, pictures, still pictures, not drives. People really
Yes.
like to bring pictures. Okay,
Yeah.
and paintings, artwork. So that's an important thing, but
Yeah.
always depends on size of the family, number of kids, and what do you really treasure. Because
Yes.
moves are done because not because of any reason rather than feelings. It's we are transporting the feelings of families. So that's
Yes.
why we do moves.
Yeah.
We don't do moves because they want to bring furniture because it will be more expensive or cheaper in the other place. Today it's expensive to ship. It is true. The freights are going outrageous. And if you see the price of oil, and this all affects the shipping lines. And
Of
the big
course.
crisis, just a little curiosity, from China to Portugal, we used to have containers, a 20-foot container, for instance, for, let's say, 800 euros, no more than that. Today we pay for that same container about 9 to 10,000 euros. You see, so
What?
imagine that. Yeah, it's true.
Wow.
From China.
That's
It's crazy.
extraordinary. It is, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's
Goodness.
the effect of the pandemic. Okay. It's through studies, they say that I believe by March or, April, throughout this year, till the end of the year, these things will be more calm. But right now it's just crazy. We see, and they are changing. Like you can't do a air freight today at the price and next week we'll do it at another price.
Yeah.
It's crazy this, so it's
Isn't that
important to be
extraordinary?
aware of
Yeah, and I suppose after prices go up, they don't often come down, do they? So that's an extraordinary thing. Or is it quite volatile? Could it come down significantly?
today is very volatile. Today it
Right.
is. I would
Yeah.
say that it will come down because this is a matter of how do you say, it's a matter of power, like the Chinese got all the containers there, and then the
Yeah.
Americans bought, they didn't have containers, so they bought really empty freights just to take containers there, and now the containers are spread in China and the US. You see, so and then you have
Okay.
lack of containers in other places like Portugal. You see, so that's difficult,
It's like
but
playing chess. It's like playing global chess with
yeah, but
containers,
in
isn't it?
logistics, exactly.
Yeah,
Global
yeah.
chess with logistics, exactly. Uh-huh.
Quite
And then you,
extraordinary.
you you see, like, Singapore is one of the hubs of containers around the
Yeah,
world, and you see Durban as well, in South Africa.
yeah.
And now you look at that and you see empty containers hanging around some crazy areas, like places in Africa that you would not think of, Gabon and stuff like that. And you're like, okay, let me get that container so I can, use it for my use in South Africa and stuff like that. So
That's
that's
incredible. What
important.
an extraordinary situation. So you might see on
Yeah.
eBay, containers wanted. Okay.
Well, you never know. You never know.
Okay. Another question has come in. Question for Luis. So we've gone from the international move of a corporation moving executives around the country or around the world, indeed. And here's one. Here's more of a personal inquiry. What's the rough cost for a van full of stuff from London to Lisbon? So he's emptying his lockup in London and he wants to bring it over to Lisbon. I mean, do you deal with this level? Are you down to
We
van
do.
loads as well? Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
we do that because we don't do a van load. What we would do, we would do the packing. We would
Yeah.
put everything in a TR truck, international, those big trucks, and we would
Yes.
ship it to Portugal. And just to
Okay.
demystify, the last comment about Brexit,
Oh,
actually,
yes.
Brexit, it's not a pain, okay?
Oh,
Especially if you are coming from the UK to Portugal. The only
okay.
thing is that you have be acquainted with the documents to get, all right? And for
Right.
instance, some people that wants to bring small things to Portugal, they don't even go through the bureaucracies to, just to deal with the baggage certificates and a lot of stuff that you have to deal with,
Yes.
it's true, you have to deal with those things, but if you have the information, it's okay. But some people just want to pay taxes and duties as they arrive in Portugal because
Mhm.
we can declare a lower value and they just pay like 300, 400 euros, and that's it, you know, like for taxes and duties, and they don't go through, you know, getting baggage certificates in consulates, go through all the documents that you have to take. It's bureaucratic, that is true. Okay, but it's
You
not
just need to know what to do.
difficult.
That's
Yeah,
so.
but
Okay, and you make the distinction there. It's easier to bring things from the UK to Portugal than it is doing things the other way around.
nowadays, yes, because if you go to the UK, like they just changed the rules now in January, and you have to have the tour to go back to the UK. You must have lived in Portugal for at least a year, and you have to change your residency to the UK. Okay, fiscally speaking, all right.
Yes,
But now we need to do, technically speaking, we must do the dispatch of import into the UK while the truck is still running to the UK. So that's the only challenge, you know, not that we now have. So, but we deal with that, you know. The UK, it's peculiar because since the Brexit is true, things are changing on the, not the day to day, but you know, on every 6 months, things come up, you know. So and we have to adapt. But the important thing is that we do.
Okay, and what do you think? I mean, is it too difficult to answer a question like this because that's not a specific amount, and we don't know how much it's worth to it?
Yeah, it's not specific to know a full truck or a full van, because I could have a full van of 9 cubic meters or another one of 15, depends on the volume. But if you look at, you know, I would think that Andrew is thinking about, you know, just like a Sprinter or something like that, that would probably hold 6 to 9 cubic meters. So he's probably going to look at, you know, I would say somewhere on 2,000, 2,500, something like that, euros. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much
for that move. Yeah.
And can you throw in an SNS number? He needs an SNS number as well. Do you do that sort of thing for people?
What's an SNS number?
You know, the health system number. Your U10. The U10. I think you would know it.
Actually, we do that. We do that in our relocation department. We have an immigration department and the relocation, and we do that. So it's true.
You get a deal there, Andy. Have a chat with Luis, and I've put the link in for contacting the company. That's also got in the comments. Sure. From Matty, who's recently moved. He may have other things to move, but question to Luis: do they have, as a moving company, do they also ask their customers to have an insurance for the service they provide in case stuff breaks? So, do you insure it? Does the client insure it? How does that work?
No, we do have, you know, agreement with insurance companies. Okay, we don't do the insurance, of course. We are not an insurance company, but we do have these agreements with Pack Global and other companies that work specifically for moving industry. Okay, it's a very big difference. If you have, you know, imagine Victoria in Portugal or AXA or any of the companies that do insurances, you know, but they are used to do cargo insurances. Okay, so in the day that you have to claim for any of your personal used goods, then they will raise a lot of problems, and it's difficult for you to actually get any conclusion on that. But with Global International, we always try to, though we do insurances, we always support through the whole process. We have a claims department to be able to secure that our clients, you know, remain satisfied with the service, because we always say, and I always tell everyone that I'm not I do the very best we can, but it's not forbidden, or it's not in this phrase to say that we will not damage anything. You know, sometimes things break, sometimes a box falls, you know, or you are loading furniture and you hit something, because working with hands, it's difficult, you know, logistics are like that. But we do have a very sensitive handling, you know, in the things we are doing. So we avoid, and we have a very low percentage of claims, and we do about 3,000 moves per year. And if you look in the end of the year, we have probably 30 claims in a year. So it's a very low percentage, you know.
Well, human beings are involved, and the high seas are involved. Things are going to happen, aren't they? I mean, when you think about it, there you are in your house in America, possibly, and you're wrapping something in bubble wrap, and you put it in a box, and you're thinking, there it is, I've done it, it's going to be safe. But then you look at if you look at the sea between Portugal and the United States, and a cargo ship bouncing around on those seas. It's extraordinary, isn't it? That sometimes things get here at all with that particular setup. So I think it's incredible, and there are so many variables in it. I think it's quite an exciting industry to be in. Let's put it like that.
It is. It is. It is very, very interesting.
I'm sure. And so a couple more questions before I know we need to leave you to go and do some work. I'd love to know just a little bit about Sintra. But before we go there and finish on Sintra, what's the strangest thing you've moved?
Cool.
The weirdest.
I have had a move. I have had not weirdest, but I had a move that close to Alentejo, close to Vendas Novas, Vendas Novas, the place of bifanas. So, yeah, it's known by the bifanas, the sandwich you eat in Portugal. Okay, so I went there and I went to do a survey. This is all I knew. And I went there at 5. I went there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I left at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So imagine, this was a huge property. A 10-acre property. The lady had 97 horses to take, 35 dogs. She had 14 cats, and she had about 200 cubic meters plus the stables, plus all of that stuff. So that was the craziest move I've ever done. I even went there myself, to Belgium, and this was like just crazy. And
incredible. What a job. You must have been a popular guy that year.
I still have till today. I can show you. I still have till today. This guy remember a movie, Something Almighty. Look what these guys did to me. Luis Almighty putting all the horses in the...
Hold it back up again, Luis. Let's just see that again.
I will. It was very funny. The guy just...
look at you.
These were the packing team, May 7th, you see? 1,001 moves. This was
incredible. All right, then. Thank you. You've been so generous with your time. That's an amazing story. Sintra, if people go to Sintra, what are the top 3 things they should see when they get there?
Well, if they come to Sintra, they must do at least one thing. Everyone goes into the tuk-tuk and they goes up to the palace. They shouldn't do that. They should go to Villa Sassetti and walk all the way to the top, because if they do that, they will see an amazing view of Sintra. They will enjoy the hills. They'll see many different views in Sintra. It's a tough walk, not so tough. It's like an hour walk, but then they will be up to the castle, to the fortresses we have here, and they then can take the tuk-tuk and go to the palace of Sintra. Another very important thing is to take, the queijadas Sintra, that's important. Yes. They must eat that. All right. It's called, there's a place, you have 2 ones. You have one right in the middle of Sintra that they have travesseiros and queijadas, but there's one on top I believe it's called São Pedro, right on top. It's not in Sintra. You have to go up, as you come off of Sintra, and there's a pastry there that is called o preto or something like that. You have like this black man, and you see on the corner, and that one is very, very good. Okay, so you must go there, and of course enjoy the hills of Sintra. That's if you like nature like me, you have a lot of places to hike here, and of course all of the monuments, Quinta da Regaleira, the palace. Now I forgot his name. Monserrat, Palace of Monserrat. That's very interesting, and was owned by Brits, in the beginning. So it was built by them. Exactly.
They get everywhere, don't they?
There's a lot of history of UK in Sintra. If you come here, you will understand that. The UK is very present here.
I must return, and because we went there one day, another visit when my mother was over, and we went to Sintra, and it was blocked off for some reason. So we went and had a beautiful lunch at the Praia da Massa. which is Apple Beach is not far from you, is it? And that's a fantastic place to go have some
5
seafood
minutes
as
from
well.
my home. Yeah.
You lucky, lucky man. Look, Luis, what a legend. We're looking forward to having you back already. So the third Thursday of the month is when Global come and talk to us. I'm looking forward already to having another conversation with you. OMG, what an amazing place. That holiday was the best family holiday we had with the Capricorn 12 Cubs in Sintra. And just as you're going, people are asking questions like this. Look, what's the rough cost of a 40-feet container from Australia to Portugal? Question for Luis, would you do a 4 to 5 meters cubed? Can you give quick answers to those, or do people need to get in touch, Luis?
Well, it's better for them to get in touch, but you know, for a 40 container, 40-foot container from Australia to Portugal, most likely about 15,000 euros. You know, something in those areas, and 4 to 5. You know, I gave you a number for 9, but 4 to 5 doesn't go too out of 2,000 euros. Actually, you know, as you go down in volume, the prices actually go up because there's always minimum charges that, for instance, if you come from London, in London, all the agents, they will charge me a minimum charge to pack or just to carry or just to load, you know. So it's challenging in that part, and there's fixed costs. But I'm very glad to explain all of this to everyone who wants to be in touch with me.
Give them a call. And then this is a lot of stuff coming from Australia potentially, isn't it? What can you put a rough price on that?
Well, about 15,000, 18,000, 15 to 18,000. You know, they'll probably be it. It's important to know that every move is different. Okay, the access to the residence is different. The items in the house are different. So I could just throw up numbers here, you know, and in the end of the day, it could be lower, could be higher. Depends on what do we have. You see, that's very. There you go, Casa do Preto. There you go. There you go, Antonio. That's the one.
This is the sort of granular detail we go down to. So write that down, people. The queijadas there, Casa do Preto, Periquita as well.
Periquita, where the travesseiros are. There you go. Very good.
The Oregonians loving Portugal, the OLP. Thank you, Luis, and that's from me as well. Thank you so much for being here with us.
I appreciate you guys.
And we're looking forward to speaking to you again next month with more stories.
Yeah, I'll be very glad to be here. So,
all right. Great to meet you. Muito prazer. Ciao, ciao.
Have a great day. Take care.
All
bye
right.
Bye.
There he goes. Talking live from the Global Mobility Group. Well, yes, what indeed. What a legend. And what fun to talk to Luis there. We'll have him back next month. It's great. These lovely Portuguese regulars of ours. Any more questions about Sintra? Save them up for next month. We could probably put them to him before then and get answers. Thanks, Luis, as well, from Big Boy Crypto Pants. Okay, we have lots of comments about furniture and beds and stuff like that. We're going to scroll back and we'll have a leisurely half hour now as we make our way to 10 o'clock this morning. This I quite liked, Rebel Mum, and I agree with you. Furniture styles and comfort are a matter of taste. Nobody likes an uncomfortable sofa, though, do they? That's a contradiction in terms. Second one of the day, uncomfy sofa. It's all about the comfort in it, and you know, kicking back and watching telly or whatever from your sofa, or gathering with the family, reading a book or whatever. We have found lovely and comfortable things here. I've found, however, that used furniture is more expensive than I was used to in the US. Yes, secondhand stuff keeps its value. You only got to look at a flea market to see a VHS recorder there. Somebody still wanting 50 euros for that. Old Uncle Joao wanting to sell off his old VHS recorder. They're probably not wanting to get rid of it. He's too sentimentally attached. And I agree with you. We found, you know how... A lot of people realize they need a sofa before Christmas or want to change their sofa before Christmas. I was thinking about IKEA. How do we get it? Is it going to come in time? Or that extra money that you have to pay to get it shipped by another company? And I'd been driving past this furniture place. I think I'd seen it on Facebook, and I've been driving past it in Caldas. And I took Mrs. M and the kids in there. I said, look, we should check this place out. It's local. It's Portuguese made. And we found really good value sofa. It isn't the most comfortable. It's comfortable enough. It's not luxury, okay? But it's brilliant. And it's got this little sort of detached bit. It's an L-shaped thing, and it's got these little modular footrests in it. And it was a few €100. And we went in there and we said, you know, okay, we like this. The price is good. Can you deliver it? Yeah, included. Delivery included. When can you deliver it? Sorry, we can't deliver it until the day after tomorrow. Well, okay then. Do you want us to pay? No, pay on arrival. Portugal, right there, everybody. Superb. And we're loving it. We're absolutely loving it. Just in time for the royal visit from the mother. And where's mother's video? She had a question for you. I must get that sorted out so she can ask you that. I think we should return to this news item about leave those kids alone. But just let's resolve a few, shall we, of the comments that have come in from earlier on and the greetings this morning. Let me just make sure I scroll back to the right place. Yeah, Luis. We've got Portuguese today's in history to cover as well. Pam Smith's here too. I'm just trying to find the place where I last left off. We can do it. That must be about learning Portuguese as well. Jim McDonald's in as well. My goodness, I've got so much. Stop. Don't put any comments in just until I've caught up a little bit, okay? Oh, yeah, Gary Austin. That was the lovely story of the GNR, who were efficient and helpful up there in Al Viagra. Upstanding, as you would expect from Al Viagra there. And, yeah, praying to Sajwal for rain. We want the rain sort of at night, don't we? That would be ideal. Blue skies during the day, raining at night, and then we can get up in the morning and still have a lovely, beautiful, sunny day here in Portugal. Yes, and James would love to see the Bayards lady wrestling the Baker lady there. And I wonder if Garvo put in his comment or not. Did he dare to? Antonio F., sad for the bad experience you had, but glad you retrieved your bag with the documents. About 10 years ago, I lost my wallet and my bank in Phoenix did the same thing and refused to send them to France. I thought things changed by now. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's as though these companies don't work with you in mind. You know, they're too busy fighting criminals and setting up security. And then they forget, don't they, about who the important person is in the equation. And, you know, how about some decent customer service banks? And they're always using the excuse, aren't they? Oh, we have to do it for security. We have to make your life a misery for security, for your own good. That's got a familiar ring to it. Or the Bayard slug eating the pals. Oh, yeah, banana slug in the pal. Which is another name of an erotic novel, I'm sure. I said the lady in the photo is thinking, I wonder where I left my teeth. And now I wonder if what that is in Portuguese. Oh, bless her. So as well as in the Bolloré, you find a broad bean, you might find that lady's teeth in your big bap. Thank you, Carvo. Carl, the Prince reference is so funny. I spit my coffee when I heard it. Yes, the artist formerly known as Abu there. No reflection on Portugal. No bad feelings because in the end, wonderful people and love showed up. Ooh! It warmed up to 0. Now 2 centigrade. So the almighty 2 centigrade in Finland being reported this morning and snowing all afternoon in my central Finland town. How did you end up there, Suze? I'm now seeking work in Portugal to get there quicker. Been retired long enough. Send in your CV, Suze. We'll read it out and we'll get you a job here. In the community. So there must be, we know so many people now, don't we? We're so well connected, all of us, and so well meaning. And I know the road to hell is paved with good intentions and no good deed goes unpunished, but I'm sure we can help you. You know, let's do that. Let's have our own little Expats Portugal LinkedIn, shall we? Bon dia Gumpers, clouds and rain are the words of the day here in Wiesbaden, Germany today. Oh, okay, no wonder you're looking forward to moving to Portugal then, Jim. Bon dia from Pam. Hey, Pam, how are you? Back to Stephen Wright from Andrew, another fan of Mr. Wright. Oh, Mr. Wright. That's a funny little joke, isn't it? A woman who says, yes, I've met Mr. Right, but I didn't know his first name was Always. I put a humidifier and a dehumidifier in a room and let them fight it out. That's a Portuguese story there, isn't it? Right there as well. You can do it, Suze. And from James Cole, did you mean to use the words politics and truth in the same sentence? Yes, I did. Silly me, huh? No, you're so unfair with politics. They are only providing us a masterclass about how to lie well. Oof, ouch. We have an appointment with the Portuguese Embassy in Stuttgart, Germany on Monday for our interview and turning in the originals of our applications and supporting documents. Good luck with that, Jim. I'm sure it'll all go swingingly. Sometimes not so well. Yes, as reported earlier on. Bon dia, cabeça sonolenta. Is that dreamy heads there? Good morning, sleepy heads. Thanks, connecting with the film community and expats in film. That sounds like an organization, Expats in Film. And when we come to making the erotic novel movies, of course, we know where to turn. Towards Suze there. Bon dia, Carl. Deagle joining late. Watch back over the first 30 minutes later. Yes, smashing those likes. Good morning, Deagle. And smashing those likes, everybody. rather ungainly for people of our position and sophistication in the community. But seriously, smash those likes. What's this? An Anki flashcard of mine. Oh, a flashcard. It's for learning the lingo. Estou em Portugal para tornar-me resident. Well done, James. Got that one from Mia. And time to get serious about learning Portuguese and catch up with you 15-minute gumpers. A 15-minute gumper. Go on, James. Do with that what you will. He was a 15-minute gumper. Sometimes did it twice. We can do it. Those 15 minutes a day really work, says Krista Deagle. You start noticing that your understanding starts to improve week on week. Memrise is working for me. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. Keep it going. We can do it, as James says. Good morning, Gumpers. I'm sure we've said hello to you already there, but why not do it twice, Linda and Lewis? To Moaz, I love it too. It's a special place, but I think being here is a great choice. There are lots of similarities, but with a safety element. All the best with your plans. I think talking about respective countries and safety there. Oh, yes, and talking about rentals, don't be gentle, it's a rental. Is that really how you treat your hire cars in America? Nós podemos fazer isso. Yep, that is, we can do it, right? Public transport. Public transit whenever possible. Okay, so today in Portuguese, excuse me, I'll do that again. Today in Portuguese history, 1064. Okay, 1066, of course, a year etched in the memories of English children, British children. 1064, meanwhile, in Portugal, Ferdinand I of Leon Castile besieges the Muslim Coimbra. The Muslim governor who surrendered is allowed to leave with his family, but 5,000 inhabitants are taken captive. Easier in a walled town, but how do you do that? I mean, that can't be literally, can it? That must just mean some sort of metaphorical captivity, I would have thought. But can you imagine? That's what's so wonderful about history. I never really appreciated this until I got older. But just imagining, if you've been to Coimbra and thinking how 5,000 people would have been held captive there in this turnaround in history, as Leon Castile besieges Muslim Islamic Coimbra at the time. Quite incredible. Thank you for that, Prof. Moaz, I'm going to... Well, I can't stop calling you Abu, I'm afraid. I'm going to my first physical therapy session very soon, so I'll watch the replay later. Hi on the replay, Moaz. If anyone wants to leave a comment for Moaz in the replay, do it now. Yes, Capricorn, we words jump out listening to the radio, and I try reading the news online to see what words jump out. Yes, more and more will jump out. They'll be jumping out all over the place before long. Great description, Deagle. The words do jump out at me, currently about 1 out of 20, and that's up from 1 out of 100 3 months ago. And you should celebrate. When you don't know anything, that state of naivety should be enjoyed, as well as a source of embarrassment from time to time. And Google Translate is rubbish, so it is conseguimos fazer isso is better. Look at her. Thank you, Pam, for that. Luis Duarte, we covered that, didn't we? So we've done the Luis. This is the Luis section of the show there in the archaeology of the comments. Today in Portuguese history too. Thank you so much for these, Prof. I love them. I really do. And can everyone else show their appreciation for Prof's hard work here? Prof. Eusebio, Midlife Crisis World Tour, 1973. And I'm reminded, actually, that wonderful book, what's he called? The man who wrote the world's first global village. That's a collectible book now, Portuguese history. I'm getting more and more into it. I mean, I've always loved it since I've been here. I'm chatting yesterday with you, Jay and Diane, yesterday about the end, the climax of the Pedro and Inês story. But Portuguese history is so fantastic. And here's some more for you. 1973, Amilcar Cabral assassinated in a PED planned scheme. You'll know about the PED if you've been watching Gloria on Netflix. Amilcar Lopes de Costa Cabral was a Bissau-Guinean and Cape Verdean Pan-Africanist revolutionary. So there you go, a part of Portugal's colonial past in Africa there, and the nasty goings on that came from the secret police, the PED there. Pete and Andy, are they moaning about Brexit there? Boris doesn't have a clue about, and he's so angry, couldn't finish his comment possibly there. And I said partying like it's 1999. And somebody came up with a new turn of phrase in the comments, didn't they? Partying like it's number 10. Partying like a British Prime Minister. Obrigado. I rarely use any Google translation without consulting my Portuguese community first. And that's what happened. James and Pam sorting that out. Conseguimos fazer isso. There you go, fazer isso. Cabral was one of Africa's foremost anti-colonial leaders. From 1963 to his assassination in 1973, Cabral led the Paigas guerrilla movement in Portuguese Guinea against the Portuguese government. Thank you for that, Prof. And the Conseguimos fazer isso comes courtesy of Pam Smith this morning. Your Portuguese lesson courtesy and with compliments from Pam Smith this morning in Alcobaça. Pam does occasionally use Google Translate, however, to check something I've written in Portuguese, but never the other way around. Never! There are earthquakes in Portugal, but the serious ones are very rare. I wonder why that came up. I must have missed the first bit of that. Louise, glad to have been of assistance. So yeah, you know what to do. Louise, check out Louise. And Mrs. Capricorn 12 and I were speaking to a fellow passenger that we saw regularly on our weekly flights. He told us that he commutes from Portimão to London every week. He moved his family to Portugal. There you go. That's some lifestyle, isn't it? There isn't a Portuguese consulate in our country, says Walid. And we are struggling on how to get the required baggage certificate for our personal items. Do you assist with this? I'm sure they do, Walid. And it's worth trying, isn't it? Give them a call on the link, via the link that I've put in the comments. There you go. Partying like you live in number 10. Hola, my people. Os meus povos, tudo bem? From Rebel Mama, who's here with us now. Okay, and we dealt with all those questions there, didn't we? And talk about furniture. Suze is planning to load her little van to the brim with furniture and creating a spot to sleep on my 5-day drive. In among the boxes, right? Don't want to pull a trailer through unfamiliar roads. Talk to Matty about that. He's done it. Sure to get lost, distracted on the way. So there you go. A van full of stuff. With Sue's kipping in the back by the sound of it. I was so happy to have been able to shed all my stuff down to one suitcase, one carry-on and one backpack before moving here. It was incredibly liberating. I think that's an amazing way to do it. I've heard of the furniture area. What was that town called again? Oh, please. João, are you here? Antonio, what is the furniture capital, please, in northern Portugal there that took a bit of a bashing from IKEA, but I'm sure it's on its way back. It will be. So many wonderful things that are made in Portugal that you don't hear about. Shoes, bikes, all the booze, of course, and now furniture we're hearing about. It's quite amazing, Portugal's industry. So modest, so understated, as usual, in a Portuguese style. Yeah, so Matty did pull a trailer, and with an electric vehicle as well. We had to stop every half kilometre to get it recharged, but it was great. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. There you go, motivational moment there. Matty's motivational moment. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. Olga's here. Bon dia, alegria. Thank you, Olga. Good morning to you. Nice to have you here this morning. And Antonio, that's Paços de Ferreira. Yeah, Paços de Ferreira in the north of Portugal. There you go. And this is a rather philosophical sort of comment, isn't it? From existential poet Andrew Gilchrist, Lisbon. Empty boxes aren't worth shipping. Can you imagine him sipping on a French cigarette with his beret on, coming onto the stage to somewhat muted applause on our open mic evening and saying, I have a poem for you. This was crafted in a moment of severe angst. Empty boxes aren't worth shipping. Thank you. Victoria! Hola, chica. I tuned in late. Did you give an update on your situation? I hope you're feeling better. Such a shocking and upsetting thing to happen. Yeah, we got some wonga, some cash going over to Victoria, Rebel Mama, and things are on the up for Victoria, if I may summarize in that way. I would also only come with a suitcase, but my wife disagrees. Now, therein lies a rub. Again, another line there. Therein lies the rub. The next Gumper novel. Therein lies the rub. And who doesn't like a rub first thing in the morning? I pulled a trailer from BC to Ontario. Not the historical period, BC to Ontario, but British Columbia on familiar roads. 4,000 kilometers. So don't talk to me about trailing stuff, Matty. Don't want to do it again. Plus length would add to ferry costs. His length added to the ferry costs. Question if I'm a... Oh, sorry, we missed earlier on. Big boy crypto pants. Jack Polly's here. Look, it took us 6 months to decide to come with nothing. There's another existential crisis. It's only stuff, but for us females who have collected things over the years, it's hard to give up. As a male, I have stuff. I did bring box. We left a box, a little lockup full of boxes, and I too have stuff that I can't or would have found hard to squeeze into a backpack, I've got to say, as a fella as well. What is an SNS number? All right, don't get your knickers in a twist, Andy. The centre or so don't seem to know. Look, capital letters, he's really getting proper peed off about this. Utent, maybe that's where you're going wrong. You've got to ask for the utent numero, I think, there. I'm going to ignore the ats. We're getting close to finish time. I think one of the hardest things for my move was to decide what came with me and what I let go. Yeah, totally can see that and sympathize with that situation. That's the thing right there, isn't it? Summed up. When you're in that moment of, you know, trying to minimize or not. Some people are saying, like that lady in the Alentejo, by the sound of it, just come and sort it out for me at one end. And then the extreme, the extreme other end, okay, it's one carry-on, it's one backpack, and it's one suitcase for the hold. That's your spectrum right there, is it not? For Luis, I decided to buy an EVN trailer for my move myself because all the movers I contacted asked me to have an insurance for their work instead of having an insurance themselves and to handle it. So he took it into his own hands. He took it into his own hands. Lots of material this morning for the erotic novel. Scrolling on as we make our way to 10 o'clock. And I think we're not going to get time, are we, for Leave Those Kids Alone? I'm going to make time, actually. I'll come back to your comments in just a moment. And yeah, there was a thank you, Luis, there. And Jess saying, I'm too sentimental on that spectrum there. I'd love to get rid of everything, but it's so hard to let go of things with memories attached. Indeed it is. So this... Leave Those Kids Alone. Let me bring that onto the screen because this is important. What do you think about this? And I'm in danger, aren't I, of opening another can of worms, but we can carry this forward. And I think this is an important thing. After seeing a British girl crying on a news talk show about how her future had been taken from her because she wasn't able to study in the way that she'd expected or to take the exams and pass those academic milestones, she really was so upset, and understandably so. And she needed help to put it into perspective, you know, not to take anything away from her upset, which was justified, but she definitely needed a bit of perspective on it. But this is going on for young people, and I think it behoves us oldies and elders here to come to some sort of assistance. And I want to share this with you. I'll leave this hanging here for a little while, as in a few days, because we need to come. This isn't going to go away, and we need to pay special attention. Whilst we're partying like it's number 10 and putting this behind us, we need to be very mindful, I think, of the effect this has had on kids. So Algarve judge rules in favor of battling parents. The child psychiatrist, trick cyclist, Pedro Caldeira da Silva, came out this week defending the urgent need to find a way, in quotes, of freeing children from the damaging psychology perpetuated through the pandemic. And that's for all of us, isn't it? Oh, can you see that I've had an advert served to me about how to deal with my crepey skin? I'm quite resentful of the advertising strategy served up for me when I look at the Portugal resident. So did you know crepe skin can be reversed with a one-step technique? Not now. It could be worse, the advertising that comes up on here. Advanced dentistry. Is it scanning my English teeth every time I'm on the screen now and coming up with that as well? Advanced dentistry with your comfort in mind. Get out of here. His intervention came as parents, researchers, and even judges are showing patience for continuing restrictive measures in the name of SARS-CoV-2 is running thin. In the Algarve, for example, a movement of parents is growing that has already succeeded in winning an injunction against the mask mandate at local secondary school. But elsewhere too, the mood is changing. Specialists have told Expresso the time has come to move away from the doom-laden daily bulletins which count cases that are becoming increasingly irrelevant, as the vast majority of them have little or no symptoms. Well said. Gustavo Tato Borges, president of the National Association of Public Health Doctors, the ANMSP, predicts that from spring or autumn, COVID-19 will become integrated into the weekly flu bulletin, dispensing with daily vigilance and focus on cases. It will be a normal winter illness. In this scenario, the insistence that children should have to continue going to school in masks is looking more and more heavy-handed, in quotes. Many parents are simply not prepared to take it any longer. Some have opted to remove their children from mainstream education, while others to challenge the system and highlight the loopholes. In the Algarve, it has been the case of the latter. So there you go. In the bid presented, dozens of peer-reviewed studies shows that wearing masks does not stop viral transmission. It also referred the court to studies on the negative effects of wearing masks on children's mental and physical health. Yes, it's got to be, for God's sake, let's bring some balance back into this, right? We understand how we got there, but let's please reverse out of this cul-de-sac. This is me now, not the article here. It's a long article. I'm not going to read it all, but the last couple of paras from Natasha Don here. Well done, Natasha. Parents need to start filtering the reality. COVID-19 is not a terrible threat that will never end and will always be hanging over us, but that a fact of life, he stressed. This is from, who was this? The child psychiatrist. Yeah, he's saying, but the time is long overdue for releasing children from all the fears and fuss of contagions. He stressed something we have to cope with, just as we have to cope with car accidents and illnesses like the flu, cancer, and malaria. As for the press, Caldeira da Silva said it should be leading the way, giving perspective instead of what has boiled down to pharmaceutical propaganda. Well, that, just on a personal note, has my full support. I wonder, there's not enough time now. I shouldn't have done that to you, should I? With 5 minutes to go. I'm going to go back to my comments. Jess, totally agree. We took the family photos out of the frames and we'll have them framed here when we buy a house. That's like art gallery robbers. So Stanley knifing it out of the gilt frame, rolling it up and stick it in your backpack as you zip wire away from the art gallery with the alarms going off. So still in the family. That's fantastic. Well done. Good strategy, Jack, there for Jess. It's time, good time to give up being a hoarder and just take pictures of things. Start anew. Hoard digital pictures instead. Could not join in earlier, says Joao F. I hope I still get a taste of your company today. You so do. You got to love IKEA for their recyclability of their stuff, if not their policy on unvaccinated staff, Andrew. As my wise mom once said to me, you either need to move a lot or never. Love that woman. I think we all do, with sentiments like that. That mom of mine also used to say about aging, beats the alternative. Well, hey, yes, please, could you text that to me? That can be the watchword motto of our new 50+ Vitality group on Facebook. Suze, what is a wall pad? Yes, where did that come up? Is it for under your bottom sheet? When you get to our age, you need a bottom sheet, a washable one. That would be an amazing thing. I freeze at night because we don't heat the house at night. We have 3 blankets and full PJs. Full PJs, not just a top or a bottom, but full PJs. There are, yes, a woolen pad. That would be good. I'm sure they must make that in northern Portugal. And, of course, there are those electric blankets, modern electric blankets that you can get. My CDN credit card sends a check with cash points accumulated. Won't send it here. My niece will deposit it. Finland hasn't used checks in 25 years. So that's a Canadian. Oh, you're Canadian. It's not CDN. It's Canadian. Thank you for that. That is so antiquated, isn't it? Canada leading the way in some things, some of their sort of fascistic political policies, but way behind when it comes to banking. Paul Garcia, hola, I like the Portugal LinkedIn idea. I am a speaking Portuguese better now and ready to find a job here. Splendid, Paul. Well, then we need to do that, don't we? We need a sort of jobs situations vacant thing, don't we, on the forum? I will talk to my colleagues about that. So Paul Garcia, commending that to the house. I like it. Your mum sounds like mine, from Cindy B to James. There are a number of momisms. Let's make a list of those momisms and we'll stick them on the show notes blog, shall we? I'll keep working on it. Jack Polly, great idea. Great way to save space when moving. So we need to get Jack Polly on, don't we, with the top 10 tips for moving as a minimalist. Soon documents will be virtual and then you'll be able to retrieve and go on without physical people giving you a hard time. Too right. Blockchain business. It's the future. Show some love. Fondle the like button. Oh, Cindy. Oh, and yes, it and yes, it is a mattress pad under the sheet. Erotic novel entry. Even that, those 3 words themselves are risque and so erotic novel entry themselves. She was always satisfied with him, despite the fact he was only a 15-minute gumper. Yeah, we need busy lives. Who needs anything more than a 15-minute gumper these days? I could call my bank from anywhere and they will fix it. It has happened and it has been rectified from France and fixed via US. Key is a local bank from where you live and not the giant banks. Well said, OLP, and it's true here, part 2. It may not because he was so adept at fondling her like button. Yes, the mind boggles, doesn't it, when it comes to fondling like buttons this morning. Thank you for that, Cindy B. I've already seen something like that, a wall pad, just don't recall where. I think I was married to that 15-minute gumper. Not much like button fondling there then. In keeping with Martin Luther King. Oh, look, this is from sublime to ridiculous this morning. Well, that's not unusual, is it? Let's face it. In keeping with Martin Luther King Jr., look up the letter from a Birmingham jail. Don't be a white moderate. Wikipedia, you can find it, or many other places. Thank you for that tip, OLP. Luis said there are no earthquakes in Portugal. Oh, I see. None to speak of, or none to worry about. Okay, thanks for that. Explaining that. Hola, bon dia from Susan. Hello, Susan. Leaf and Susan here in Raleigh, North Carolina, working with global international movers to arrive in Portugal in May 2022. Excellent. So satisfied customers to be there. Carl, PAIGC is an African party for the independence of Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde. Cape Verde is there. Thank you very much, Antonio. How can I become a premium member without using PayPal? We have Stripe on there as well. I don't think it's PayPal only, OLP. So please check again, and you'll see the options for the buttons. And if you've really got a problem, we'll send you an invoice, I'm sure, if that's a problem for you. Or anyone else who's fallen at the PayPal first, we'll send you an invoice. We'll find a way to take your money. Don't worry. Boxes are what shipping containers are known as. I see it wasn't an existential angst-ridden rhyming situation there. Some of your avant-garde poetry, Andrew, forgive me. Sorry. Bon dia, Carl, and everyone from Australia this morning. Dad! Every time he hears Jack Polly, I didn't agree with Luis Antonio. I was just repeating what he said. What's that about the earthquakes? It's why they're expensive now. There's a shortage of availability. It did sound hugely expensive, but if you got to move stuff, you got to move stuff. You can't sail it yourself, can you? Apart from the notable exceptions of people who own shipping companies. But generally speaking, you can't move it yourself. If it's got to be done, it's got to be done. You've got to swallow that cost. My wisdom of logistics and mobility: live like the Mongol herd folk. If you can't get it on your horse, it ain't going. Is that right? I would have thought. Or a Portuguese angler. So there is that the Gumper Latin phrase that goes under our coat of arms? And you are, oh, please, can we have from our community a Gumper coat of arms? And maybe the Latin inscription underneath it, live like a Mongol herd folk or Portuguese angler. Or just live like a Portuguese angler, because I think that's got a great ring to it. And nobody understands what it means. It just sounds good, doesn't it? I live like a Portuguese angler. Okay. Can I get you dessert? I admire you expats so much for having the courage to decide what to bring over to Portugal and what you leave behind. After all, some of the stuff you are forced to leave behind has a history with you, says Joao F. It's true, innit? Thanks, Carl. Gotta go. Great show. Glad I found you. It's mutual. Don't let your possessions own you. More wisdom coming from Ubi. How are you, Ubi? Party like it's number 10. Tanqueray, number 10. Excellent. Paying for a master's and an LPC to be taught in person at uni. I can honestly say that my daughter was given the short straw. Course switched to home study due to COVID. Badly let down. Yeah. I think the youngsters have been, and we need to keep a close eye on them, don't we? And you know, we've got to give them the upside as well as the downside they've been dealt recently. That life is good, and here's how to enjoy it, you youngsters. And we need to set them an example, don't we? With all of this gloom and doom, it needs to be balanced for their life, for their peace of mind, for their joy, for their birthright, basically. 15 minutes of finish, switching to 15 minutes of Gumper. And who doesn't like a quick finish in the morning? Not many people, actually, as it turns out. From Rebel to Ubi, all our stuff we packed, burned in a fire just before we came here. What? It was pretty liberating. My husband's still upset, but I remember things fondly, and that's enough. So you're fondling the memories of things, and that's enough. There you go. There was a guy, wasn't there, who did as an artistic installation. He shredded all his stuff in an industrial shredder, and it stays in my mind because it must have been 30 years ago now. He was a British artist, and he shredded his stuff. And teaching people just that, I suppose, or putting that idea in their mind. I will put a quote up later. There you go, Rebel Mama and OLP. Why did you leave the US? Yes, why did you? Not enough time to answer now. No more ats today. We've got to move on. Erotic novel entry. Can't overlook this, though. After switching to the 15-minute Gumper, she learned to be a 15-minute finish. Very good. Very quick. I just found out I was trolled yesterday Oh, we dealt with that, Owen. Don't worry about that. We had you back on that, mate, and I hope you sorted it out now. Don't focus on that. Don't focus on that. Forget about the orange elephant in the room. Go, focus on good things, my friend. And I know our minds are hardwired to look for the trolling and the bad reviews, etc., etc. But you did a cracking job yesterday. We had what 200 times more love for you than that single comment that just seemed a bit narky basically yesterday, and I hope you've sorted it out. That's the thing to do, isn't it? Is have a face-to-face maybe and get it sorted out, because I'm sure there are good intentions behind what can look like trolling and nastiness. I find it sweet. Ooh, what? I wonder. But we'll leave that hanging there as well this morning about how Michelle finds it sweet. And again, thank you so much from Alder Curtis. Another erotic novel entry. They left it to their imagination. That's my baseline attempt for an imagination track. They're all the same, weren't they? We haven't had an imagination track. Are they a bit too cheesy for you, Lee John and his pals, Chris, on the jazz funk track do dia? I wonder, but yes, they left it to their imagination. Fondle the like button. Keep fondling it. See what happens. Charlotte, North Carolina, best airport in the world, apparently. People are buying those houses to build boxes. Is that people are buying those boxes to build houses? Of course they are. I've seen them. I've seen a cracking one on the outskirts of Foz de Relio. On the archaic, our town, we own a home in Montana, only takes a check to pay for water, garbage and sewage. So, yes, people still using checks around the world. They are quite sweet, aren't they? And do you have a quill pen and ink to dip into to write those checks? Bit of blotting paper afterwards. The coat of arms must include a Francesinha or perhaps a sardine or both. Yes, it must. A Portuguese angler with his dangling his sardine in front of you, tantalizing you with his dangly sardine. Bon dia, Carl from William. We are adrift here in an open neck t-shirt visiting the Marateca Dam for a few days. Oh, was that a drive? Marmite safe in a van. See you soon. Yes, thank you very much, William Ogilvy. Have a lovely road trip, my friend. Carl, you are 100% setting an example. Always love the time the Capricorn 12 spend with your lovely family. Oh, cheers, mate. Oh, no, hold on. That's an at comment. We're going to have to move on. Have a beautiful Thursday, Gumpers. I agree with you, Rebel Mama. Trying to get to Portugal as soon as we can. First to explore and then to move. Come on, what are you waiting for? Get over it. Someone in Wales chucked their old laptop in the tip and threw away 17 million worth of Bitcoin. But they might have thought to themselves, it's only stuff. It's only a laptop. It's only a few digits on the screen. I still have me happiness. Probably not. Fire can be a cleansing ritual. After my first... What? Oh, after my first wife passed, I had a ritual bonfire with some friends. Yeah, fire is amazing, isn't it? Absolutely right, Ubi. Yes, my youngest had a breakdown last year and ended up in hospital for a month. No fun. He's great now, though. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. We have to help the young people, don't we? I believe that they are our future. Too many, Carl. Way too many. I can't keep up. I kept a few important things, but the simple fact is that you never forget a loved one. Stuff is not important, and ultimately vanity, the heart and soul never forget. Very beautiful. And what a place to end on. Thank you, Ubi, for popping in with such wisdom this morning. Let's get cracking on that coat of arms and the motto, I live like a Portuguese angler. And a bonus track just come in. Body Talk by Imagination. Okay, thank you. I went to school with Errol's son, who was the drummer of Imagination. I remember when his parents came to school. It was amazing. Fantastic. Great memories of Imagination writhing around the screen on top of the pops. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tonight at the webinar if you want to learn about renting a car in Portugal long term, all the benefits of brand new car ownership without owning it. Just have to put the gas in it, the gasolio, the gasolina in there, and all the things are taken care of that a lot of us don't have time for. And you get to drive a brand new motor. Find out more from ACP. We'll see you Premium Plus folk on the 9 o'clock call as well when we're talking about taxation and wealth management. Look forward to seeing you then. And tomorrow, as we hit Friday, Feel Good Friday, and let's talk about intermittent fasting, shall we? Let's talk about vitamins and minerals. And let's talk about physical fitness, gentle physical fitness for us bon viveurs who love to live the good life. Take care. Until then, I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao for now.